A packable day pack is such a sweet little unlock, especially when you're traveling. My problem with the vast majority of these packable day packs is that they prioritize weight and compressibility so much that while they might take up virtually no space in your bag or suitcase, when you get to destination, you end up carrying this like loose sack, has no structure, no organizational elements, minimal to no padding. And I mean, being a backpack lover, I want something that I'm gonna actually enjoy when I'm out traveling, exploring a new place. On this video, I'm gonna talk about the Bellroy Lite Ready Pack and the Aer Go Pack 2, which in my opinion are two of the packable day packs that strike a really, really nice balance of still being compressible and packable enough that you can take it with you on a one bag travel backpack, throw it in a suitcase, but still have something that's gonna have sufficient structure, organization, comfort, and it's gonna feel like an actual backpack when you're at destination. On this video, I'm gonna compare the two. Even though technically they both serve the same purpose, I find that they each thrive in different scenarios. So one of these two packs should be a really good fit for the vast majority of people, assuming they fall within your budget and you like how they look. So I'll share some thoughts on where I think the Bellroy wins, where I think the Aer wins. I'll pack both in a bag so that you see how much they compress. And then at the end, I'll share my thoughts on which of the two I would keep and why. And for anyone that owns either of these bags, would love to get some feedback on how they've been treating you. So let's get into it. Want to quickly preface by saying that Bellroy has another packable day pack called the Lite Day Pack. And technically that would be the most fair apples to apples comparison in that they're both $99. They're both 20 liters. That one shares more of the organizational layout than the Go Pack. But for me, between those two, I definitely like the Go Pack more. So it's just not a super fun comparison. Also, the Day Pack doesn't have an external water bottle holder. And for a day pack, even if you're not carrying a water bottle, having some sort of external stash situation where you get two plus the hammock on the Go Pack. But I do feel like between these two, you're covering a much wider range of types of people in this world. This guy's $139, this one's $99, so definitely a price difference. This one weighs 0.77 pounds, this one weighs 1.3 pounds, so close to twice as much weight as this one, which is an important consideration. Now, let me start off where I think the Aer wins. First of all, just more organization. I think both visually and because of the organizational layout, it works better in more of an urban setting. And then the zipper smoothness on this guy is, we'll talk about it. So starting off with organization, and this is not necessarily a bad thing, especially for a day pack, but there's a few things that are really nice on the Aer. With the Bellroy, you really just get two compartments plus the water bottle holder, just a little quick access admin panel with two sleeves and a key leash. And then in the main compartment, no pockets, just I have a packing cube here to make it stand, but you just have a sleeve in the back where you can put a hydration bladder, laptop, whatever it is that you want. Now with the Aer, you get two water bottle holders instead of one. Water bottle capacity wise, you can fit a 32-ounce hydro flask in both of these. Not super comfortably where you're like effortlessly sliding it in and out. A 24-ounce definitely is more practical in that sense. But one really nice thing about the Aer that I've talked about this before, but I almost would love to see like Aer do like a light travel line where maybe they're using fabrics more similar to this, maybe not as waterproof or as abrasion resistant as ballistic nylon or X-Pack or Ultra, etc. But also including this like kangaroo pouch, like on their travel pack 4, I think this would be such a functional use of space compared to just like their traditional front zipper pocket. And so great place for a jacket, or you've got kids, just like stashing things in there. Beyond that, you have their quick access pocket here in the top. Great place for just sunglasses, whatever. It's a pretty deep one. Definitely more spacious and deeper than the ones that you get on the City Pack Pro 2, the standard City Packs, even the travel pack. It's really spacious. And then it's just a half zip, but then inside of it you get a sleeve here in the back, so something like a laptop, a mesh, stretch mesh zippered pocket, and then 2 additional like sleeves in the front. So in that sense, you get a lot more pockets, which I think for a lot of people they will prefer, which is a good segue to my next point. Having a lot more compartments makes this better for tech carry, whether it's a laptop, cables, things like that, which is part of the reason why I think for urban carry, it fits that setting a little more, but also visually, and for a lot of people, they're really not gonna care about that. They're purely viewing these bags as tools. But to me, I just see this bag. If I saw someone rocking this in San Francisco, New York, or just like some big city walking around, they would blend in really, really well. Versus this one, I mean, I think this bag looks cool and would look great anywhere, but this one definitely leans more like outdoor adventure hiker. And then lastly is just like the zipper smoothness. These zippers, you can fart and they will pretty much move. It's a combination of the zippers they're using, the shell fabric, the structure. It's really mainly just these 2 zippers, but they are both like, my favorite zipper on an airbag is the City Pack 2, not the Pro. That has a 9.5 Pilgrim churned butter zipper smoothness rating, which is like 0.1 shy of the best score. And I feel like this is a 9.5 as well. Whereas on the Bellroy, they're still smooth and they get smoother, but it's still, you know, they're PU coated, which JJ from Bellroy told me it's like part of the reason why they use PU coated zippers is because of the structure. It actually helps with the zipping experience, which makes sense because literally like my top favorite zipping experiences are mainly all PU coated zippers, surprisingly. But yeah, this bag I would give it like an 8.8, but this is like butter melting on a piece of tenderloin. Now, where the Bellroy wins, in my opinion, is the look, using it for outdoor carry, like going hiking, and then the weight packability factor. So the look, it's very subjective. I think it's a combination of things. The fabric on the Aer feels great, but it has kind of like a crinkliness to it that takes away a little bit from the overall premium finish aesthetically. And then it's also just very much just like a modern minimal bag. The Bellroy, in my opinion, has more personality. The shell fabric also has a little bit of a crinkle to it, but it has more of like visual appeal and texture with kind of like the tiny dots with their like ripstop. I mean, their light fabric is amazing. And this is like a baby venture ready pack. It has that like brain pocket DNA, and I think within that family, it's one of my favorite looking backpacks, period. And then as far as the look, I think this bag blends in better in more of like an outdoor hiking type situation, both aesthetically, but also the overall design. Now, we're like a big Osprey family. Like we live in Utah, we hike a ton. We have a bunch of Osprey hiking bags. They make fantastic bags. I mean, for hiking, their harness system is really hard to beat. My problem with Osprey like bags for the most part is that they lean so far in like that hiking outdoor gear aesthetic that while I'm totally cool like rocking it in the mountains, like walking around and exploring a city with it, I don't know. I would much rather have something like this. So I found that with the Bellroy, even though the straps are not as padded as the Aer ones, I still find the Bellroy more comfortable. It's the combination of the weight, the back padding, and it just like hugs my back. It feels more secure. Worth noting is that the Bellroy does come with a sternum strap, which, pro tip, if you didn't know, like Aer sells like magnetic sternum strap. It's only $5. It's compatible with the Go Pack and a variety of other bags. The sternum strap on the Bellroy, when I first saw it, I was like, that's kind of like dainty because it's just like a thin webbing and it just like clips on like this. But honestly, it fits the bag so well. I actually have grown to really appreciate it. And then when you're not using it, you can just clip it here so that it's out of the way. And so we went on a week-long trip around Idaho and did a lot of hiking. And while maybe this wouldn't be my first choice for a pure dedicated hiking backpack, the hiking backpacks that I have here that I will use don't have the advantages of it being as packable as this, So I don't ever pack them and take them with me, but also the fact that they're cool enough, in my opinion, that I can take it on a trip. Like we're going to Italy for a wedding in October and we're gonna be going to the Dolomites. I'm super excited for that. And this is like a perfect day pack to take where I can walk around the city with it, but then take it hiking as well. Now, one miss, in my opinion, in this bag is they even like advertise the whole like hydration bladder, that you get the sleeve for it. You have some webbing here so you can suspend it depending on the bladder that you have. And they also include like a little piece of webbing here so you can loop the bladder hose through it. But there's no like, typically with hiking style backpacks, you have like a little sleeve where the hose feeds through from the inside of the bag. They didn't do that, which I wish they would have. So it's not like the end of the world, but you just have to like feed the bladder through the main compartment zipper. And the last thing where the Bellroy wins is it weighs 0.77 pounds compared to 1.3, so close to half as much. And just all in all, because the shoulder straps are thinner, because there's like less pocketries and organization going on, it just compresses better than the Aer. And while technically I feel like neither of these bags are necessarily marketed as like packable day packs, because the real market of packable day packs are usually like they pack down to next to nothing. But I know a lot of people that use these types of bags for this exact use case. And so you'll see if I'm like putting this in a 34-liter backpack for one bag travel, the Bellroy, like you can flap it in half or put it completely flat and it really just doesn't take up as much space. This still works really well. I'm not like trying to deter anyone from getting that one for that reason. But also, you know, when you're doing one bag travel, all that weight is on your back. Every ounce does matter, and every tiny cubicle of space that you could find in there also matters, especially for like more minimal travels. Now, a few small considerations in case you're still very much like split between the two. These little factors might nudge things in one direction or the other. The Aer doesn't have a key leash anywhere. There's a zippered pocket on the inside, and then there's also this pocket up top for keys, but it's not a huge deal. But for me, especially when I travel, which is typically when I take something like this, I'm a little bit extra paranoid with keys. If I'm like renting a car or I have keys to an Airbnb, being able to clip them is a nice thing. On the flip side, with Aer, it's a better self-stander than the Bellroy. The Bellroy, like right now I have a packing cube in here just to try to not have to hold it. And for a lot of the videos doing fine, now it wants to go forward. The Aer's been like standing like a champion, but it's a packable day pack. So I mean, that's actually really impressive that the Aer, even when it doesn't have a ton, it's still, Aer's like figured out the self-standing thing for sure. And then the other thing is that the Aer has a vertically oriented luggage pass-through. And I think for maybe a lot of people where they don't really view this as a packable day pack. They view this as like, hey, I just want a light, comfortable grab and go bag that I can pair with my suitcase, but I'm actually taking with me in the airport. So in that sense, like you don't have that here, you have it here. Personally, like as much as I like the Go Pack, for either of these, they're going either in a suitcase or in a like larger one bag travel backpack. I'm taking like a proper backpack with me because I am a backpack lover. So I couldn't care less about having a luggage pass through. If anything, that's just additional weight that I really wouldn't use, but there's gonna be people that are gonna be using this bag for different reasons than I am, or they just want the flexibility to be able to do that. So final thoughts. TLDR is if you want a backpack, it's lightweight, packable, still very much versatile, but you value having a bit more organization, whether it's external or internal. You also foresee yourself potentially like using it to carry something like a laptop. Not that you can't in this one, maybe like cables and things like that. And you don't mind compromising on the fact that it is definitely gonna be a little heavier, then the Go Pack 2 is my recommendation. And like transparently, if someone just told me like without giving me any of their like preferences, hey, recommend me a packable day pack with either of these falling within their budget, which one I would recommend? I feel like the Aer is probably gonna be the safer recommend for most people. Now on the flip side, if when you travel, you typically like to do outdoorsy stuff, go on hikes, things like that, you still want something that's like structured, but you don't need a ton of pockets. You really just want to maximize as much of the main compartment space as possible. And you still want to be able to like rock it in an urban setting, then the Bellroy would be my recommendation. Obviously, what makes it tricky is that the Bellroy is like $39 more than the Aer. But I think, yeah, I'm not everyone, but I am definitely the kind of person that if there's a clear-cut winner between the two, I'm not gonna compromise and get the cheaper one over $39. If it was like 60, 70, then psychologically I'd be like, all right, there I'm being financially irresponsible. That's also a lot of money for a bag that's serving this specific use case, and that's a whole different story. But anyways, between the two, even though, like I said, I think the Go Pack 2 is the easier recommend across the board for most people. And it's also, man, this front kangaroo pouch and how smooth the zippers are makes it really, really hard to say that for me it would be the Bellroy, and I'll explain why right now. But the cool thing is that because they serve two different purposes, I think it really depends on the trip that I'm going on that is gonna dictate which of the two would come with me. It's not one of those like, oh, I just need one of the two, I can get rid of the other. I get that I'm like a bag reviewer and not representing the average consumer that's not gonna have two different packable day packs for two different kinds of scenarios. That's a like bizarre luxury. But the reason for it is that my wife and I, and now the kids, have been forced to it, but they genuinely like love the outdoors. The kinds of traveling that we do, we always pick places that have access to beautiful nature. The kids are finally old enough that they're not completely useless on hikes. And so we're again like getting back into the rhythm of like taking them on hikes and all of that good stuff. And because of that, I find that the Bellroy is a better balance of like the outdoor adventurous hiking stuff while still being able to rock this around a city and not feeling out of place. Whereas with this one, even though it's still very comfortable, and I'm sure with a sternum strap it would help its cause, I feel like the harness system on this one is definitely designed more for being active in that sense. And it's also just like lighter, more packable. And so if I had to get rid of one or the other, I feel like there's just more trips that we go on where I'd get more value out of having something like this than the Aer. But they're both phenomenal bags, and I find myself using them in my day-to-day life more and more. They're just such a great, like, get out of the house, grab and go bag. Let me know your thoughts. Feel free to ask questions. I'll throw affiliate links below for the two of these in case this video ended up nudging you in one direction or the other. Best of luck and cheers.